Battle of New Orleans in under 4 minutes? Let's go. So, today we're going to be talking about the Battle of New Orleans.
What is it?
Great question. Basically, in short, it's America and Britain
Signing a paper not to be mean to each other anymore.
stop fighting. But snail mail is still around, so fighting continues. And eventually, Britain marches down to New Orleans, which is the Americans' newly acquired land and the key to the West. And they fight Andrew Jackson and his melting pot of an army, and they lose. And basically, this exalts Andrew Jackson to this national hero, and it raises all this countrywide spirit, and everybody comes together, and it's wonderful for the Americans because they just beat this big bad nation. And that's about it. No, of course I'm not letting you get off that easy. Let's get into the meat of it all. So, for starters, diplomats gathered in Europe to sign the Treaty of Ghent, which ended the War of 1812. But the only problem was that there was no Instagram or Snapchat or Twitter to get word around fast, so the fighting continues. So, this brings us to the Battle of New Orleans, and it's considered the most decisive battle of the war. So, you're probably wondering who are all the key players in this. Well, two of the main characters in this battle is General Packenham from Britain and Andrew Jackson from the U.S. So, let's just start with Andrew Jackson. So, the soon-to-be president, Andrew Jackson, was a general in the U.S. Army and headed to New Orleans as soon as he caught wind of the British coming. He didn't like the British very much, and he's had previous encounters with them before. When Jackson got to New Orleans, he declared martial law, and he recommended that all able men and weapons come to the cities and help defend it. So, let's just talk about Jackson's army for a second. So there was a total of 4,500 men compared to the 8,000 British regulars. Oh, also, Jackson's army consisted of Indians, frontiersmen, and even pirates. With no real highly trained soldiers, Jackson launched his first attack just 2 days prior to Christmas, only to retreat afterwards to the Rodriguez Canal, which was heavily fortified. No, it was literally 10 feet wide. But credit to Jackson, he ordered slave labor to create a more defensive front, and he renamed this as Line Jackson. New and improved Line Jackson now stretched a mile wide and stood almost 7 feet tall. So now in comes Big Bad Britain, led by Lieutenant General Packenham. He was a well-respected general as he had done well in prior wars. With this being said, Packenham figured that the Americans would see the 8,000 well-trained regulars and lay down their arms. Spoiler alert, that didn't happen. So, instead of laying down their arms, Line Jackson actually hunkered down and fought their fight. This was just one of the plans that had been foiled by the Americans. Packenham was also counting on the fog to try to dull the aim of them, and this didn't work because their aim was so precise due to their practice in hunting. And so the Americans continued to tear through the British. So now the British are desperate. So Packenham decides to take his men and move in on Line Jackson and try to infiltrate it. This proves to be fatal for him because he is shot dead in the process, as well as so many other British officers. And with so many of their officers shot dead, the Redcoats don't know what to do. So they retreat back to their boats, and this battle is Andrew Jackson's claim to fame. As word got around, Andrew Jackson got exalted to a hero status. Nationalism was higher than ever after beating this big bad nation of Britain, and I don't blame them. So, in the end, what's the biggest impact of the Battle of New Orleans? I think it's the fact that America now thinks that they are a real nation and they can play with the big boys. If they can hold their own against a nation like Britain, they're now a real presence in the world, and I think that is the most important thing. So, thank you for tuning in. That was the Battle of New Orleans in under 4 minutes. I hope you enjoyed.